noticed your social media engagement dropping lately? Maybe your Instagram posts used to get comments every time you posted, and now you're lucky if you can get a few likes. Or maybe your LinkedIn posts used to spark conversations, but now they feel like they disappear into the void. Or maybe you jumped on Threads when it launched, and for a while it felt like everyone was there, and now it feels pretty quiet. If any of this sounds familiar, you are not imagining it. Welcome to Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm your host, Katie Brinkley. Join us as we dive deep with the world's leading digital marketing experts every single Tuesday. It's all about giving you the strategies that are working right now, directly from those who are making an impact. With my 20 years of experience, I'm here to help you navigate the world of digital marketing. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills or transform your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started on today's journey to success. A recent report covered by Social Media Today looked at engagement trends across several major platforms in 2025, and the data showed something really interesting. Engagement on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads has declined over the past year. Meanwhile, engagement on platforms like TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, and even X saw a small increase. Now, when people hear something like that, the first reaction is usually panic. Social media is dying, or the algorithm must hate me, or my audience must have disappeared. But before we jump to any of those conclusions, we need to take a step back and understand what's actually happening, because the real story here is not that engagement is disappearing, it's that social media has become more competitive, more crowded, and more algorithm-driven than ever before. So when that happens, the rules of the game change. So today, I want to break down why engagement is dropping on some of the biggest platforms, what's actually driving the shift, and what entrepreneurs and business owners should be doing differently with their content right now. Because if you understand what's really happening, the news isn't that bad. It's actually a huge opportunity. All right, so let's start with something simple. There is more content on social media today than ever before. More creators, more brands, more influencers, more AI-generated content, more videos, more carousels, more everything. Think about your own feed for a second. How many posts do you scroll past every day? Probably hundreds. And every one of those posts is competing for the same thing: your attention. Now, imagine what that means for the algorithm. Platforms have more content than they can possibly show to users, so they have to make choices. They prioritize the posts they believe people are more likely to interact with. And that means the bar for engagement keeps getting higher. 10 years ago, you could post something simple and get plenty of interaction. 5 years ago, you still had a decent chance of getting engagement if you posted consistently. But today, your content actually has to stand out. And that's where a lot of business owners struggle. They're still posting the same type of content that they posted years ago, but the environment has changed. Another major reason engagement looks different today is because of the algorithm and how the algorithm works. In the early days of social media, your feed was mostly chronological. You saw posts from people that you followed, and that was it. If someone followed your account, they were very likely to see your content. But today, that's not how most platforms operate. Platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads rely heavily on recommendation algorithms. So instead of simply showing you content from accounts that you follow, they show you content they think you might like. And that content can come from anywhere: a creator you've never heard of, a viral video, a trending topic, a brand post, a meme, a news story. Your content is no longer competing with people in your niche. It's competing with the entire internet. So when engagement rates decline, it doesn't necessarily mean your content is worse. It often just means that there's more competition, and the algorithm is being more selective. LinkedIn is actually a really interesting example of this shift. Because for years, I used to say this: LinkedIn is like Facebook 2015, but it's changed. So for LinkedIn had an unusually high engagement rate compared to other platforms. If you posted something thoughtful or insightful, it could spread very quickly. But LinkedIn has grown dramatically. More creators are posting regularly. There's short form video over there. More businesses are investing into thought leadership. More newsletters, more articles, and more, like I said, videos are being published than ever before. So naturally, engagement rates start to normalize. But here's something important to understand. Even if average engagement rates decline, LinkedIn can still be one of the most powerful platforms for business. You might say, well, why? Because the conversations happening there are often higher quality. People are networking, people are hiring, partnering, building professional relationships. And one meaningful comment on LinkedIn can be worth far more than dozens of likes on another platform. So if your LinkedIn engagement dips slightly, that doesn't necessarily mean that your content stopped working. What matters more is whether the right people are seeing it. Now, let's talk about Threads. When Threads launched, it was one of the fastest growing social media platforms we've ever seen. Millions of people joined within days. Everyone wanted to see what it was about. There was curiosity, there was excitement, there was experimentation, but that kind of explosive growth almost always slows down. We all remember Clubhouse, right? Well, maybe we don't all remember Clubhouse, but it exploded during the pandemic, and then now people are like, what's Clubhouse? Once the initial excitement fades, users settle into normal behavior. They decide whether the platform is part of their daily routines or not. And engagement levels stabilize. This happens with almost every new platform. So Threads is seeing engagement start to cool off. That's not surprising. It's just part of the platform maturing. Now, here's something I think entrepreneurs really need to hear. Engagement metrics are often misleading because they only tell you a part of the story. A post with hundreds of likes might look successful, but did it generate any leads? Did it start any conversations? Did it bring in any business? On the other hand, a post with only a few comments might lead to a client inquiry or a partnership or a speaking opportunity or a sponsorship if it's for a podcast. And that's the difference between vanity metrics and real marketing results. Vanity metrics, they make us feel real good and warm and fuzzy on the inside, but meaningful interactions actually grow our businesses. And when engagement drops, many businesses respond in the worst possible way. They start posting more. More posts, more reels, more videos, more everything. But content without strategy just creates more noise. And social media is already full of noise. The real question businesses should be asking is not, how often should I post? The better question is, why should someone engage with this post? What's in it for me? Did it teach something useful? Did it spark conversation? Did it tell a story? Does it make someone stop scrolling? If the answer is yes, the engagement trends will follow. But if the content is generic or forgettable, the algorithm has no reason to show it to more people. And this is why I talk so much about content strategy, because random posting, it doesn't work anymore. You need structure, you need a system, you need content that guides people through a journey. That is the entire idea behind the awareness to action strategy, my 4-post strategy. It's instead of posting randomly, your content has purpose. Some posts create awareness, some posts elaborate, provide deeper insight, some build community and connection, and some posts invite your audience to take the next step and work with you. When those pieces work together, engagement becomes a byproduct of the strategy, not the goal. And at the end of the day, the goal of social media for most businesses is not engagement. It is connection. It is trust. It is relationships, because relationships are what drive business. A thoughtful comment, a direct message, a conversation that starts because someone resonated with your content. Those interactions are far more valuable than 100 likes. And the businesses that win on social media are the ones that understand that difference. Social media engagement is always going to fluctuate. Algorithms change, platforms evolve, audience behavior shifts. That's just part of digital marketing. But the businesses that succeed aren't the ones chasing every algorithm update. They're the ones focused on creating valuable content and building trust over time. So the next time you see your engagement dip on your posts, don't panic. Instead, ask yourself a better question. Is my content helping the right people? Is it resonating with the right people? Because if the answer is yes, your strategy is still working. If you want help turning your content into a strategy that actually drives business results, that's exactly what we do at Next Step Social. We help entrepreneurs and CEOs create content that positions them as thought leaders and turns their expertise into visibility. You can learn more at nextstepsocial.com. You can check out the book where I talk all about the 4-post strategy at katiebrinkley.com. We'll link that in the show notes. And I do have an entire episode all about the 4-post strategy, so be sure to go back and check that out as well. And I want to leave you with one question. If your engagement dropped tomorrow, would your content strategy still bring in leads? Because the goal isn't to chase engagement. The goal is to build a marketing system that works no matter how the algorithm changes. Thanks so much for listening for today's episode. Until next time, keep your marketing smart, strategic, and always on trend. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.